Sorry, we're a bit sooner than expected. Whoops, I've let all the dogs out.
That's all right. Good morning.
Yes, it is a good morning. Got you up, I think.
Well, that's all right. I'm kind of, you know, rock and roll morning for me.
Okay.
It's not morning for you, but...
Are we going to call the dog in or leave him out there?
Come on. Okay.
Great. You travelled all around, didn't you, when you were kids, the three of you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What was your dad? Was he in the army or something?
Marine Corps.
Marine Corps.
He retired as a major with honors, and he fought 3 wars. But we did travel a lot. We lived in Taiwan for about 2.5 years when I was about 2 to 4 years old. And I have some great memories, you know. When I first learned how to speak, it was Pidgin English, Pidgin Taiwanese.
What did you want to grow up to be?
Well, I wanted to be as much like the Beatles as possible because they were my, you know, big influence. I think this is what I wanted to grow up to be, is what I am being right now.
Really? Even when you were young, you thought of being a rock star?
Well, just about. I mean, before I was into the Beatles, I was into horses. And I started playing guitar when I was about 9 years old. And so I learned every Beatles song there is to play.
What was the first song you ever remember on the radio?
On the radio?
Yeah.
It was Que Sera, Sera.
So how come you didn't want to grow up to be Doris Day?
Because that's when I was about 3 years old in Taiwan, before I even knew who Doris Day was. But actually, before that, it was even the alphabet song.
Oh, really?
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, da, 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 da. But anyway.
Do you find your relationship with Anne changing a lot all the time?
Yeah, it is changing. I find the roles sometimes reversed, where I turn into her mother. I have to take care of her, you know. It used to be that the older you get, the less age difference matters.
Do you have any great mind-expanding experiences in this park?
What do you mean, drugs?
Drugs? Me?
What? Of course!
Did you ever think about heart?
I have never stood on this stage.
You never stood on this stage?
This is the first time I've... Oh! This is the first time I've stood on.
Have you ever thought about Heart doing a free concert? You know, that would be quite a
well
full circle. Maybe now.
Don't take the brown acid! That's about what it was in those days, yeah.
Right over there, that's the reservoir, isn't it, for Seattle?
That's the,
Now, obviously, there were thoughts, right, back in the late 60s.
Like, there were some people who had the idea that it would be a pretty good idea to dump a sufficient amount of LSD in the water right here. I think thereby turning on the city fathers. Like, you know, the whole idea would turn out perfectly. Everybody would be turned on, you know, and then Seattle would be this city of light. Yeah, I don't think that the 60s were in vain, but I think that they were so hyper-idealistic that...
Unrealistically idealistic, do you think?
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe the 70s, rather than being a blah decade, it was a decade of consolidation, taking some of those ideas that could work.
Yeah, or sort of going, okay, now, this worked, and maybe this was a little bit too high thinking. Maybe this is possible, and maybe this isn't, you know. Yeah. But I know that... But I have felt a lot of apathy in the 70s, too, really a lot. Yeah. Just like there's a new generation. I don't feel totally apart from them because we play to them all the time. But they're just a lot more apathetic. They watch a lot more TV.
Really? You think the kids coming out, you really feel that?
Oh, yeah.
What has been, to you, the high point of your life up until this moment in time?
Professionally, I think the highest point in my life, and you probably won't believe me, is right now. And I don't mean money-wise. I mean, I'm coming back to a place where I want to do it. I really want to do it again. And we've spent since 1970, when was it, 5 or 4, on the road every year like a hamster on a wheel. Make an album, go on tour, make an album, go on tour. It pours you out like a pitcher. And we came off the road after all those years of that, numb. Like, I never wanted to write another song as long as I lived. I didn't want to listen to music. I didn't care. I was poured out. I was just whoosh. So, like now, 2.5 months have gone by, and I feel it coming back. And that, to me, is more inspiring. That makes me feel so high that I think that if it keeps on, it's the highest I've been, you know, just inside myself. See, there are a lot of problems with being a rock star. Of course, I won't go into them now because they're obvious. You've heard them all before, you know. I mean, money, all this kind of stuff. But I think the overall effect is that you become this isolated creature, and you're lucky if you have this circle of people around you who love you enough to be honest with you, to not just be yes men, to tell you, and we're lucky enough to have that. And so now that we're home and the fire is being rekindled, you know, artistically inside myself and inside Sue Ennis and inside Nancy, and we've got like these people around us, things are getting just greater than ever. The best thing that's happened to me recently is since Sue Ennis and I have been roommates, we've started jamming together. She plays the piano, I play the bass, she plays the guitar, I play the piano or something. And we've discovered a new songwriting partnership inside the threesome, which is she and Nancy and I, that's been really great, and that's helped. It was just an obsession, like with all three of us, like every day after school, we were obsessed with getting together and playing guitars. And like, our parents couldn't believe it, you know, what are they doing up there? Like, are they, well, they could hear it. It came through yeah, they could hear we were actually, like, doing it, but why? You know, girls were supposed to go out on dates and go, yeah, and, like, we did that, too, but, I mean, it was really this obsession, and it continued and turned into this. Go on, 'cause you have to. It's all in you, and nobody else gonna change your style. That's what I'm trying to do, is just want to go upstairs and play guitars. Let's just go play guitars, you know, just for the fun of it. Just go loon on somebody else's song.
Although you're a guitar player, do you ever write any of the material on piano?
Yeah.
Gives you a different feel if you write, doesn't it, on piano versus guitar?
Yeah, there's some songs that I've started off on the guitar, and then I realized that, wait a minute, this would work on the piano, and then I switch and it does, you know. That's happened a few times.
What about Raised on You? That sounds like a piano song.
Yeah, that was all piano. You want to hear it? And it goes something like this. This is the one it was written on.
Do you get special relationships with musical instruments, like, say, this piano or a particular guitar, where there's a certain vibe or a feeling, that a relationship between you and it?
Oh, definitely. Acoustic guitars, especially for me, they seem to be almost human to me, you know. My guitars are men. I mean, it's funny, it's an interesting thing that the guys in our group who play guitar seem to relate to their guitars like women. And then I relate to my guitar like it would be a man, you know, so.
In what respects a man?
I would attach a male sensual idea to all my guitars, which is I can't explain it. I'm sorry, but that's how it is.
What about the piano? Does that have a male, female?
Piano is something universal because it has everything, you know, and it's just the classic instrument. It's just a musical thing.